listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.
Hello, Eddy County. This is Hattie Quinn in the Mountain Lion Studio hosting Community Forum this week. And I am here with
Cara Cooke. I am the Eddy County Clerk.
And she has been kind enough to come in to talk with me about the election process. I am, as my listeners know, I have only been here for about a year and a half, so I'm not familiar with the way New Mexico does things. Also, I've never been super informed on the overall election process. I just looked up my candidates and went and voted for them. And so I thought it would be great if we could do that overview. We're not going to talk about candidates today. We're going to talk about process today. And so let's, I guess, start at the beginning, because if we all know that's a good place to start.
Yes.
And so how does a candidate get on the ballot?
So we have filing day for each election. The candidates have to go in and file their declaration of candidacy for the position that they are wanting to run for. And then we make sure that their voter registration and all their paperwork is in order, and we qualify them as a candidate. And then usually it's a week later, we have write-in filing day. In case somebody didn't file for that race, somebody can file as a write-in.
Excellent. So that's cool. I didn't know we had write-ins. So that's excellent. Yeah, I'm so new to all this. You know, I've been down to vote twice, so that's pretty cool.
Not for the same election.
No.
I just want to clarify that.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Yeah,
you can only vote once.
I've been here 18 months, so I got to vote in 2, or 16 months, something like that. So I got to vote in the primaries, and then I voted in the March municipal elections. Was it municipal in March?
City of Artesia had a municipal election, but Carlsbad, Loving, and the Village of Hope are part of the regular local election, which is what we had this past November.
Okay, so I guess I voted in November, and then I'm preparing to vote. I just voted in the primaries, and then I'll vote again. So let's talk about primaries for a second, since that came up, because I was firmly under the understanding that they were closed primaries here, where if you registered for a party, you could only vote for the party. But I think there was something about independents being able to vote now.
This is going to be our first semi-open primary, which means that people that are registered as independent, declined to state, that kind of thing, as a minor party, can just go into the polling site. We'll look up their information. They can select which ballot they want to vote, either a Democrat ballot or a Republican ballot. Now, the only 2 qualifying minor parties in New Mexico are Libertarian and Green. So if someone is registered under those 2 parties, they would actually have to do same-day registration and update their voter registration, selecting to be a Democrat or Republican in order to vote in this primary election.
So it was only the independents that were given the ability to choose a ballot.
There's a lot of minor parties in New Mexico, so the non-qualifying minor parties, technically, Democrat or declined to state, independent, those kinds.
Pirate party.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They are going to be able to have a chance to let their voice be heard in this primary election.
That's pretty exciting. So I just came from Texas, where they have open primaries, and so you can choose to which one you're going to vote in there. But then it does get you spam mail from those people. You know, so like if you're trying to be slick and be like, oh, I'll register for this one because I want to choose who my candidate's going to run against in the fall. Just be aware, you will get majorly spammed with political mail. That happened to me once, so I know about it because I'd never seen an open primary before.
Yeah,
we didn't have them in my previous
This is our first
states.
one. I've been there for 19 years, so.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah,
that's big. And then, I swear you just told me. You said how much notice the candidates have to get their ballots in again? I'm sorry. Or a time they have to submit their, not ballots, their
to
candidacy.
file for candidacy. Filing day is just 1 day.
It's just 1 day?
Yes.
Okay.
So for this election, it was in March.
Okay. And so they get all their stuff together. It's a set period of time before the election. They have to have it all in. And then they gain signatures to do that.
They can either gather signatures or they can pay a filing fee of $50.
Wow.
Depending on the position that they're going for. Like state reps and stuff, they're required to get petition signatures.
Okay, so state level, but more at the local and county level, you can just file.
Yes.
All right, cool. Does that happen often, do you think? Or do people bring in the signatures most of the time?
We had a couple of people bring in signatures this time, but mainly they pay the filing fee. But that's something that's also new because before we didn't have that option. It was just the filing fee. So.
Oh, okay. So the signatures replaced that. It's a pretty reasonable filing fee, though.
Yes, it is.
Really, $50.
Yeah. And, there also is a form that a candidate can fill out to designate someone else to turn in their paperwork for them in case they're going to be out of town.
Oh, nice.
So
it's sort of like a power of attorney, but just for this one particular thing.
Yes, just to file their candidacy.
That's cool. That makes it easier. And then I know that you will announce this before, like at the county commissioners meeting, you'll announce that like these are coming up, the filing date's coming up, or the things are coming up. And does that also get more widely publicized?
We usually do try to put something on our website.
Okay, so the website or the meetings. So you have to really pay attention, people.
Yeah.
Because I remember getting caught off guard last year because I was watching one of the streaming meetings and it was like, this is coming up. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not ready. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not ready anything for you, so we're okay. I'm too new. Nobody knows me. So that wouldn't really work. Because elections are slightly like a popularity contest, I mean, also there's the, do you care?
That's the issue that we face with voter turnout.
Yeah. Oh, voter turnout is rough.
It's horrible right now. I mean, their voting has been so low for
So
this election.
before I could vote here, but after I had moved here, I was doing a project with a radio station with the local media association. And so I was running numbers and I looked up our census data and stuff, and I saw that it was a very low percentage turnout, which really surprised me, especially at the local and the county level. Like you think that people would be really invested in what's going to happen to them. But I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Artesia mayoral race was just settled by like 20 or something votes.
Yes.
And that is insane.
Yes.
And that there was was it like a 10% turnout or less?
I think there was over 8,000 people that were qualified or were able to vote in that election, and they didn't get that many people that turned out, which is unfortunate.
It's really sad because I really feel like we need to take an active role in our governance. If we all have opinions and we're all going to complain,
right?
But like, if you're not voting, like, how is anybody supposed to take you seriously when you complain? Like, your power is the fact that you can and do vote.
Yes.
Right. So we really need people to do that. And then are there any initiatives under consideration for trying to get people to vote more, like a get out the vote kind of thing?
We had done organized a town hall with the library last year, and then nobody even showed up. We were trying to inform the voters about the upcoming regular local election, because it's all local school board candidates,
right? Which are very
city
important.
Council candidates, that kind of stuff, and.
Yeah, I mean, they're deciding what to do with our children's futures, with our housing. I saw recently there were some people that were coming in to talk about, why are all these oil wells so close to my house? And it's like, if you want to affect that change, then you need to be part of the process. You need to be voting for people. You need to be communicating with your representatives. And it's like, otherwise, are we just going to like sit and be okay with these things? It's like we have to take an active part in it. I think it's really important. We're blessed to be citizens.
Yes.
And I really feel like we have a part in the process. And I was really encouraged to see, I'm all over the place, I know, I'm sorry. I was really encouraged to see that Carlsbad High School had a field trip to the park to protest. I don't even know what the students were protesting. I saw people talking about it in the paper, but I just like just to teach them about the process, right? And that we can peacefully protest and that we can express our opinions and write to our representatives. And like all of these things are viable tools for us. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why you guys were protesting. I missed that part.
Yeah, I don't know if they don't understand that their voice is their vote. So that's why it's really imperative, especially because, there's such a divide between Eddy County and the state of New Mexico, as far as our values and that sort of thing. So it's kind of aggravating whenever people don't voice their.
Yeah. Right. Because how does the state know that we need action here if we're not telling them?
Right.
Right. Or if we disagree with something that they're doing. They're only going to know if we vote for them or against them.
Right.
Or if we write to them. Write to your representatives as well.
Yes.
It's a very important part. So I see that you have some cool dates for us that we could talk about.
Yes. We've had early voting going on since May 5th. We began our extended early voting hours this past Saturday. So this week and next week will be open Monday through Friday, 8 to 6 for voting. And then on Saturdays, 8 to 4. We will be closed Monday for Memorial Day.
The 25th.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is an early voting site here in Carlsbad, and there's also one in Artesia.
Yep. And the one here I know is just over by the county building.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's right there on the corner of Canyon and Tansel Street.
Yeah.
Used to be the old Charlie's Bar.
For those who know.
For those who know.
I love that. And I love those volunteers. Like they're there and like, I don't know if it's always like this in early voting, but there's like not a line and they're just hanging out waiting for people to come in and they're so helpful. And I really appreciate people who like choose to give their time to participate in the process. Yes. I think that's really important.
And I just want everyone to keep that in mind. These people are volunteering. Yes, they're getting paid, but be kind to them.
Yeah.
It's a long day, especially on election day. Election day is June 2nd. So,
okay. And
7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Oh, that's a long day. And, and they're there all day? They
get to the polling site at 6 in the morning, and they don't leave until they wrap everything up after 7 p.m. when the polls close. So it's a long day.
Oh, my goodness. That's so long. And so the ballot is printed right there, which I thought was interesting.
Yes, we have ballot on demand.
Which is cool. And then you just go and you fill it out with your little pencil, and then you put it into the little machine. It's super easy.
Yes.
Like, I don't see the barrier to activation here. Like, it's so easy to register. I did it when I got my ID. Mm-hmm. And then, so anybody who has an ID has probably had the opportunity to register to vote.
Right.
It's easy to go back and register. You have the day of election registration here
we do
New
have
Mexico?
Same day registration.
That's so
during
amazing.
Early voting and on election day. So if you've moved and you want to update your registration, then you need to do that before we print your ballot.
That's so great though. Like, because a lot of places don't have that ease and flexibility, and it's like you're out of luck.
Yeah, because prior to us having the same day registration, voter registration closed on the first day of voting, which would have been May 5th. So once if you didn't make the changes by that point, you would have to wait until after the election for those changes to be implemented.
Oh, what a pain.
Yeah.
All right. So voting's going on now. If you're not registered, it's okay.
Right.
You can register today.
Yes.
Go do it.
You just have to have a valid ID and proof of if your address is different than what is on your ID or driver's license, you have to bring in proof of address, like a utility bill, lease agreement, something like that.
Nice. That's so easy. Everybody's got that.
Yes.
And then, right now in the early voting period, we're putting our ballots through the little machine, and then what happens? Like to our ballots.
So the ballots will stay in there in the ballot bin, and then our absentee board is the ones that close out the early voting machines.
Okay.
So
And so they do like hand count, or
no,
it's from the
tabulator.
data?
Yeah, the tabulator will produce a results tape that will
Excellent.
have the results of every race.
Cool.
And
And-
those tabulators are certified. We go through a certification process. And what that looks like is we get a stack of ballots. We call them a test deck. They are pre-marked ballots. And then there's also blank ballots. And we test every tabulator to make sure that they are tallying correctly, to make sure that it's going to pop up on the screen if there's an overvote in a contest, or you can put a blank ballot in there and it'll tell you, that you have a blank ballot. Do you want to return the ballot, or do you want to cast the ballot? So if you cast the ballot, it will automatically advance the public counter number, but it's not going to count any votes on that.
What
ballot.
kind of statement is that to go file a blank ballot? Can you imagine?
They just want to have that voting history. They want to prove that they voted in this election, but they don't want to vote for anybody that's on the ballot.
That is a real vote of lack of confidence,
Yeah.
I would say, if somebody submits a blank ballot. That's amazing to me. I hadn't really realized you could do that. That's pretty cool. And then, so in June, we'll have election day, and hopefully most of you have already voted, so it goes easier for the people there. And there's not huge lines, because that's the great thing about early voting, of course.
Yes.
But so they'll collect all the ballots in the bin again, and then they run it through they get the tabulator tape and stuff. And then what happens to the ballots?
So the ballots get locked up in ballot boxes, and at every polling site, they have two locks with two keys. One key gets mailed to a district judge.
Nice.
And the other key gets brought back to the county clerk's office.
Okay.
So that way we cannot access that ballot box until it's time to either, do a recount, that kind of thing, or until it's time to take them out and store them for the 22 months that's required.
I was going to ask you, 22 months is how
Yes.
long you have to save it. That's certainly more than enough time to ask for a recount.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Is there a certain period of time that you have to ask for that recount by, or do you get the full 22 months?
You got to ask for the recount pretty soon, because, once the results are certified by the state, it's a real deal.
Yeah. Cool. And then, so that judge then would they be essentially, if you needed to access those ballots, they would be called on to rule that you could access? Is that why it's a judge that has them?
Has to have a court order.
Yeah.
We'll have to have a court order, and if we want to access those ballot boxes. And after every statewide election, we have an automatic audit that is done, and the Secretary of State hires an accounting firm that does random draw of precincts throughout the different counties in New Mexico. Previously, if you didn't get a precinct pulled, then you didn't have to do one. But now they've changed the statute to say that every county will have at least one precinct that they're going to have to recount for that automatic audit. And what that is it compares the hand-counted ballots to what the tabulator said.
Okay.
Just to verify. It's like a system check.
Sure.
So
checks and balances, right?
Yes.
We want to make sure it's all working properly.
And, they've always came out exactly how the tabulator.
Oh, excellent. So that's good equipment.
Yeah, they always match. That's the thing with hand counting. You have to factor in human error. So
absolutely.
These tabulators they do a great job.
I used to be an item processor for a bank, and it is related. You had to check the number at the bottom to make sure that the check number and the amount printed on the check matched the amount that the sheet said it was going to be. And sometimes whoever did the coding to have it printed read it wrong because it was eyeball, and so then you'd have to funnel it over to this other place to be corrected, right? So they were literally having somebody check each one as it's running through and getting its little scan stuff, which I thought was really tedious and amazing all at the same time. Because there is definitely that opportunity for human error. It's really easy to mistake a number or
Yes.
a colored in circle or whatever. And so it's a good idea to have, that process where things are checked.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. All right.
And I also want to touch on our ballot on demand system.
Cool.
We don't have just stacks of blank ballots sitting around. Your ballot gets printed whenever you go in and check in.
Right. Yeah,
So
right there in front of me, which is great.
There's no funny business going on.
Yeah, no. And I can say that everybody who was on my ballot was the people who I expected to be on the ballot. Like nobody was missing that I had gone prepared to vote for or anything. Like it was my primary ballot, all proper as it should be.
Yes.
So,
and
that's good.
people can check out their sample ballots online if they go to nmvote.org.
Nice.
They can look up their sample ballot, or they can come into either our office or either one of the early voting sites, and we have sample ballot kiosks where we can print those out for people.
That's great. So they can do their homework,
Yes.
which we should all be doing.
Yes, for sure.
Don't let that be a barrier to voting just because you have to learn something about the candidates.
Yeah.
Excellent. Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
What made you want to be county clerk?
Well, I had been there for a long time, and the previous clerks that were my mentors, one had passed away, and the other, she was ready to retire. She put in her 28 years, and so.
Oh my goodness, that's a long time.
So I stepped up.
So you were a deputy clerk before that, or somewhere else in the
So
structure?
I have always been in the election part because the county clerk's office has a recording and filing, and we have a probate and stuff, and then we also have the Bureau of Elections.
Right.
So whenever I got hired in 2007, it was in the Bureau of Elections. So I moved my way up into being the election administrator, and then when we lost our sitting county clerk, the other chief deputy got appointed, and so then she appointed me as her chief deputy. So I served as her chief deputy for a couple of years before I ran.
Nice. Do you find that you are a passionate voter?
Yes.
Yeah. Studying the issues and doing all your prep work?
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's so important.
It is very important.
All right. What am I forgetting to ask you? We talked about the dates, early voting, primaries, elections in November, of course. And then how long does it usually take to get results for Eddy County after those are all
So we
closed?
have unofficial results on election night. We have a couple of members in our IT department that come over, and as we get results in, they will post them on the county's website. But they are unofficial until they are presented to the Board of County Commissioners, and they approve the certification of the election.
Okay. And I assume that's pretty pro forma unless something weird has happened. Like they would just approve them.
Yeah. And they have between 6 and 10 days after the election to approve.
Okay. So we
Yes.
have results. It's not really official for a week or two.
For a week, yeah.
Okay. That's all right, because they're not going to fill the position till later anyway.
Right. They'll get sworn in January.
Yeah, so plenty of time for that stuff to get done. Excellent.
Yeah.
And then, and we vote for all the way from municipal up to state in these particular elections. Or we have a couple national candidates as well, right?
Well, we have a U.S. Senate. Let me see.
And I didn't want to talk about specifically about candidates, but
Right.
we vote all the way, like
Right.
up to the top.
Yeah.
So it's not just
from county up to the state positions.
Excellent. And then have we had any in recent years there's been some drama around polling places, but I haven't heard of anything like that happening here.
We have not had any issues at our polling sites, but our sheriff's department is very supportive. So we have them on standby if we have any issues.
Excellent. I think it's important. And then I don't know if you know these things off the top of your head. There's a distance that has to be maintained from the polling
100
places.
foot.
Nice.
Mhm.
Excellent. So don't be within the 100 feet if you want to sell yourself or your candidate.
Right. Not just the entry to the polling site, the building itself.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice. So you can't just like hide around the corner a
Right.
little
Can't just park your car.
bit. That's smart. I like that. Okay. What am I forgetting that I should know, Cara?
In New Mexico, this is kind of a contentious topic for some people, but we do not require an ID to go vote.
Oh.
What we have is a verbal ID. So you go in, they ask what your name is, they ask your address, they ask your year of birth, and then, you sign. There's a signature pad for you to sign, requesting for them to give you your ballot.
That's pretty great. I didn't even think about it. I just present my ID when I go. I'm just like,
And that's fine too. A lot of people like to do that. And, we instruct our election officials, if they're standing there with their ID and hand it to you, just take it. And if their information on the ID matches what we have in our system, then they're done. All they have to do is sign after that.
right. That's
So-
probably why I do it.
But you can't
So I have
ask
my
for their
address.
ID unless there are certain cases where we require them to show an ID, and that's if they registered by mail and this is their first time voting.
Oh, that's fair. They present themselves
Yeah.
appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think what it is I don't like announcing my address in a room of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And so I just hand it so they can check it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's my paranoia.
Yeah.
But and there was
I
no room
understand
full
that.
of people when I went to early voting this week. But
Yeah. Yeah, they're getting lots of reading in.
they're very nice though. Stop and talk to them. Thank them for their
Yes.
service. I always do.
Another thing that I kind of want to touch on is there are 3 state races that have write-ins. These tabulators, their ballot bins has a separate write-in bin where the write-in ballots get diverted to,
Oh.
and those bins can only hold up to 200 ballots or the tabulator will start jamming. So I just want all the voters to know that on election day, if they're at a polling site and they see 2 election officials go to get in those bins, please understand there's not any tampering going on with those ballots, but they're having to pull the write-in ballots out of that bin in order to keep that tabulator functioning.
Nice. That's good to know. And I like that you have 2 people going, right? So nobody's pulling anything
Yes.
because you have 2
Mhm.
people, eyes on eyes. And then, it's just to keep the process flowing rather than saying, okay, you can't use this machine anymore.
Right.
Instead, it's, okay, we're going to empty this
Yes,
out
'cause
so that we can take more.
Every polling site has 2 tabulators, and we're limited on the amount of tabulators that we have because we don't own them. The state owns them,
Uh-huh.
so we don't have enough to send 3 or 4 to every polling site
Sure.
per se.
I'm
So-
sure they distribute them based on population.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, is it common to get a bunch of write-ins?
No, not usually.
Yeah. But you have to be prepared.
Well, usually it's for a local race. Say somebody didn't file for this district for school board.
Yeah.
And then so they'll try to find somebody that files as a write-in.
Okay.
So it's never been to this scale. So we'll see what that looks like.
Right. It's going to be a new thing for you guys then. If you have
Yes.
3 write-in candidates at that kind of level where people are going to be sure to want to vote.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Messy. I'm glad you're on it though.
Those results won't be ready. We won't have those results until a day, maybe 2 days after the election, because the polling sites won't be hand tallying those write-in votes. That has to be done by our absentee board. So
Sure. That makes sense. So that stuff will be moved to them
mhm.
and then they'll go through it all and then they'll announce it. But it's still within the period before it's
yes.
certified.
Yes, we'll have
So-
to have all that stuff in.
That's great. Well, I feel really good about this. Have I missed anything that we wanted to talk about?
I don't think so.
Excellent. I feel like I have a good understanding of the process in New Mexico, which is nice. And there are a few things that are different from other places I've lived, which is pretty neat to see. And
one other thing that you had talked about is absentee voting and how that works.
oh, yes.
So someone would need to request an absentee ballot. There's an absentee application that they can fill out requesting a ballot. They've also started something new called the permanent absentee list. You know, we always have a lot of the same voters that want to vote at home. So they can sign up to be on the permanent absentee list, and that way they don't have to fill out another absentee application.
That's nice.
We send them a letter 49 days before the election saying, hey, we have an election coming up. This is where your ballot's going to be mailed. And the way that those ballots are handled, whenever we get those absentee envelopes back in, they aren't opened. You know, we date stamp them. We scan the little barcode to say, Cara Cooke returned her ballot. And then those ballots are locked up until Election Day when the absentee board comes in.
Oh.
And then they go through the list of who has returned a ballot. And then from there, they count how many ballots they have. And then they start feeding them through the tabulators.
And absentee ballots, I assume, are generally based on people who will be traveling at election time.
Yes.
So that's a long vacation if you can't be here for early voting too.
Right.
Or work travel. Maybe
Yeah.
you're like somewhere for 3 months,
Yes.
working on a different pipeline or something, then maybe like that could be a thing. But then I would imagine the permanent absentee ones are more people who can't really get there for mobility issues or
Right.
whatever. They cannot get to the polling place.
Yes.
All right.
And some people just feel more comfortable studying their ballot at home.
Oh, for
They
sure.
just want to vote at home.
Yeah.
So and that's fine.
Yeah, sometimes it's too peoply out there.
I agree. I'm a behind the scenes kind of person. For sure.
Well, I definitely appreciate you doing this interview then.
You're welcome.
I don't often get a yes from people who are happier behind the scenes, so I really appreciate you putting yourself through this. But I think it's really important that our listeners know how the process works and know if they still have an opportunity to vote before Election Day if they need to. And, Election Day is fine, but there could be lines and everybody needs to be kind to each other.
Well, and also life happens.
Yeah.
So go early vote. We always have people show up the day before the election that Monday saying, I need to vote. I'm going to be out of town tomorrow. Well, there's nothing we can do.
Right, because you had weeks beforehand.
Right. And we don't vote the day before the election. That Saturday
Is the
the
cutoff.
last day. So life happens. Sometimes it's best just to get it over with and know that you have it done.
Yeah,
Because you
for
never
sure.
know.
Because you don't know. I know. That's why I was like, as soon as I had like a half an hour, I was like, oh, I'm going to go vote.
Yes.
Then I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
No, that's great. I think I should also, I have a little events calendar that I maintain on the website. I think I'm going to add the whole voting period to it as
Okay.
well. Just so listeners can check that if they've forgotten what we said.
Okay.
I think that would be useful. All right. Well, Cara Cooke, County Clerk. That's a lot of C's.
It sure is.
Thank you so much for your time and coming down to the Mountain Lane studio and talking to me about the election process. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You're listening to Community Forum on KCCC 930 AM, sponsored by Eddy County, honoring God, country, and family, thriving with industry since 1889.